Get ready for Benjamin Knight Fuchs Live, coming to a streaming platform near you. How's it going, Ben? Great to
What's
see
up,
you.
buddy? Good to see you. Is that your? I heard some really cool music there. Was that you?
That was a selection from our streaming platform Restream. They've got
I
a
like
tasty
it. I like it.
selection.
Very,
Yeah,
yeah,
kind of
very
mellow.
tasty. So, are you a caffeine guy?
Oh, baby.
Ah,
You
you love
know,
your caffeine.
Yeah, when traveling in Paris, one of the great sensations is in the metro as you're going towards a train, the TGV to go wherever you're going, you always get this blast of caffeine, the smell of coffee, and melted butter for the croissant. So that's such
Oh, interesting.
an affectionate sort of smell. But yeah, I'm a big caffeine guy.
All right, all right, all right. I'm a caffeine guy too. I try to, if I do too much, I get jittery. That's the big problem with caffeine. Gives you energy, and it actually has some health benefits, which we'll talk about here in a second. But if you do too much, you get jittery, you get headaches, confusion.
Absolutely.
It can definitely affect your blood pressure if you do too much. How many Americans do you think, by percentage, use caffeine every day?
That's a great question.
If you had to guess.
I would say it has to be up there 70, 80%.
Okay, very good. 80%, according to
80%.
studies. Yeah, 80%. I would have thought it was more, actually. There is tolerance, as you probably know. Like when you first start doing caffeine, you get a more dramatic effect than when you've been doing it for a while. And if you stop doing caffeine for maybe a week or 2 weeks, even less, you'll notice that you're much more sensitive to the stimulating effects of caffeine. That's a great way to resensitize your body to caffeine if you find that you're needing more and more. You're needing more and more of it. Caffeine's been associated with better cognitive health. It's considered to be a nootropic agent, meaning
Okay.
it has beneficial effects on cognition. And actually, there are studies that show that it may lower the risks of dementia, particularly Alzheimer's dementia, as well as suicide.
Wow.
Isn't that interesting?
Wow. That's
Yeah.
huge.
Yes, exactly. It improves your mood. Has a mood improving effect. You do get if you try to go cold turkey and withdraw, you can definitely get into some serious symptoms, including seizures or including tremors. Anyway, not seizures, but I suppose convulsions can happen too in rare cases. Caffeine overdose can also cause convulsions. It doesn't happen a lot. Caffeine overdose can cause vomiting. It can cause GI problems. We'll talk about that here in a second. Caffeine is processed through the liver. If you're a smoker, you may find that you need more caffeine. Smoking will upregulate the detoxification of caffeine. So smokers may need more caffeine than ordinary folks,
Interesting.
than regular folks. You want to be careful if you're pregnant. Caffeine does cross the placenta. So the stimulating effects on you or on the mother can also affect the baby. So if you're pregnant, you probably want to go easy on the caffeine. I'm not saying completely eliminate it, but maybe a cup of coffee or 2 cups of coffee at the most. And along the same lines, caffeine can actually interfere with the production of estrogen, which can affect the development of your baby as well. Wow. So caffeine is it's a medicine. It's a drug, really.
Had no idea it was that powerful.
It's really powerful. It's got all kinds of medicinal benefits. Let's go back to let's do our triangle of disease. We do the triangle of disease with health challenges. This is the first time we haven't talked about a specific disease state, but we can still go back to the triangle of disease. Pop up the first slide there. Caffeine. Oh no, that's not the first slide, is it?
I believe.
I didn't want that to be the first slide.
No, is this the first slide?
Yeah, let's make that the first slide.
Okay.
I want to go in order. I want to go digestion, blood sugar, and then the adrenal thyroid axis. This is from the Journal of Nutrition from 2023, last year. I thought this was kind of interesting. Higher caffeine and coffee intake. A lot of times when they do studies on caffeine, they really do them on coffee. And that's kind of an important distinction. Caffeine is a purified drug. Coffee is a very complex substance with minerals and vitamins, as well as caffeine. And caffeine-like substances, something called theobromine, for example, and theophylline, which have been used. Theophylline is used medicinally as an anti-asthma drug. Theobromine means food of the gods. Theo for God, bromine means food. Theobromine is a caffeine-like substance that's found in coffee or in caffeine foods, chocolate. And theobromine used to be used in rituals for its psychoactive properties. So theobromine as an active ingredient in coffee or in other caffeine substances like chocolate or green tea can actually give you some psychoactive effects. And this article that was in the journal Nutrients from last year, higher caffeine in coffee intake was related to higher diversity of good bacteria in the intestine, which I thought was interesting, and even better, lower relative abundance of an especially problematic type of bacteria called Clostridium, which is associated with a lot of GI health challenges. So those are the upsides of caffeine when it comes to intestinal health. Next slide.
I think this one. Yep.
No. You don't have the irritable bowel one.
There we go.
There it is. Yeah, this was an article that was in Frontiers of Nutrition from, when was this published? 2021. The association between caffeine and the odds of irritable bowel syndrome was significantly positive, especially among women and overweight or obese subjects. This probably has to do with estrogen. Women are obviously more estrogenic than men. And if you're overweight or obese, you're also going to be producing more estrogen. Estrogen can exacerbate inflammation at the level of the intestine. The study goes on to conclude, we found a significant relationship between caffeine intake and severity of irritable bowel syndrome symptoms among overweight and obese subjects. So the good news is you can maybe improve some of the microbiome and suppress or inhibit the growth of bad bacteria in the intestine. And the bad news is that it's associated with irritable bowel syndrome, particularly among obese patients and women. Next one. There's also a benefit for folks who are dealing with insulin resistance or metabolic syndrome. This is from Diabetology and Metabolic Syndrome. Caffeine ameliorates the metabolic syndrome in diet-induced obese mice through regulating gut microbiota, that is the intestinal bacteria. So there's a couple of interesting things here. We just talked about how caffeine can improve the gut microbiome. And also, if you read between the lines here, the gut microbiome plays a role in how well the body processes sugar and in metabolic syndrome. So by virtue of its beneficial effects on the intestine, caffeine may help folks who are dealing with insulin resistance syndrome, metabolic syndrome. This particular study concluded caffeine exerts a beneficial effect on insulin resistance, and the underlying mechanism may be related to altered gut microbiota and bile acid metabolism. Bile, by the way, also plays a very important role in helping the body process sugar. Next article, this one's from the journal Nutrients from 2019. Caffeine may induce an endocrine imbalance that disturbs the establishment of what we call the HPA, that's the relationship between the adrenal glands and the brain during puberty, leading to an abnormal stress response. Well, anybody who's done too much caffeine knows that you can have an abnormal stress response if you're over caffeinated. And this article verifies that. And then the last article I want to talk about here, or no, the second to last article I think that's important, is this relationship between caffeine intake and thyroid function. As it turns out, caffeine may actually improve the production of thyroid hormone by virtue of its effect on thyroid stimulating hormone, so-called TSH, from the Journal of the Zhang Journal of Nutrition. Quote, conclusion, quote, caffeine consumption had a positive relationship with serum TSH in people with metabolic disorders, and moderate caffeine intake was positively associated with thyroid stimulating hormone. Now, as a skincare guy, I got to tell you, my favorite role for caffeine is when it comes to skin health. Pop up that next study here, that next article, Liam, if you don't mind. And this is very interesting. Most people, when they think of caffeine, do not think of caffeine's role in skin health. But caffeine plays a very important role in skin health, so much so that it's actually being used in cosmetics. Caffeine has an ability to penetrate through the skin barrier, the stratum corneum. It's water soluble. Most water soluble ingredients don't, but there is a certain degree of fat solubility that caffeine has, and the penetration is pretty good. Caffeine has been used to treat cellulite by improving microcirculation and improving lymphatic drainage. Caffeine can also stimulate microcirculation of blood vessels, which will also improve detoxification of the skin if you're dealing with some kind of skin toxicity issue, like acne, for example. Caffeine is a very powerful antioxidant. In fact, caffeine acts like a sun protection ingredient and will actually slow down the process of photoaging in the skin. Now, it should be noted that these points are being made in the article are about topically applied caffeine, either directly to the skin or to cellulite, not so much internally ingested caffeine. Caffeine has a role to play in what's called DHT inhibition. DHT is a metabolite of testosterone that's associated with male pattern baldness. And indeed, caffeine has actually been shown to improve alopecia, baldness, as well as to stimulate hair follicle growth, which I think is really interesting. In fact, I make a caffeine shampoo for people who are dealing with male pattern baldness or female pattern baldness for that matter. And then caffeine, as I say, is a detoxifying agent. It can help improve lymphatic drainage. It can help reduce puffiness, particularly around the eyes. It's sometimes used topically in eye creams. And this also has to do with its ability to improve microcirculation. And then also it's an antioxidant and anticellulate. And it also may have an ability to protect the skin from skin cancer. Again, these are all when you apply caffeine topically. So caffeine is much more than a stimulant, although it is a wonderful stimulant. It enhances mood. It has benefits for the thyroid. It can improve metabolic syndrome. It can improve the diversity of the good bacteria and suppress bad bacteria in the intestine. You got to be a little bit careful because it can stimulate the stress response, causing things like hypertension or excess cardiovascular, or excess burden on the heart or the cardiovascular system. In fact, you will see oftentimes the amino acid taurine, Taurine, taurine in Red Bull or Monster drink or any caffeine drink. Manufacturers like to use taurine to kind of dampen the blow, to soften the blow of the caffeine. Taurine has an energy dampening effect. Taurine is an amazing amino acid, by the way, for the skin and for the brain. Taurine is also part of the biomolecule, so it plays a role in digestive health. I'm absolutely in love with taurine. I formulate skincare products, formulate cleansers with taurine because taurine has an ability to hold on to water. It's technically called an osmolyte. But in terms of the brain and the heart, it dampens electrical energy. Caffeine can cause excessive electrical energy. That's why it can be overstimulating and cause cardiovascular health problems or brain health problems, convulsions, for example, tremors. And taurine has a dampening effect. I should say convulsions associated with caffeine are usually only occur when you take really, really ridiculously high doses of caffeine. How much caffeine do you think is in a cup of coffee, Liam?
It's a great question.
Get a guess.
I would say 5%.
Well, in terms of milligrams, say 5%. A cup of coffee is about 240 grams. No, it's more than that. It's about 80 to 100 milligrams or so of caffeine in a cup of coffee, standard cup of coffee. If you do an espresso, probably there's more. There could be up to 175 milligrams. A caffeine pill, like a Vibrant pill. I don't know if you've ever seen the Vibrant pills that they sell, these caffeine pills. There's 200 milligrams, about 2 cups of coffee. Tea is actually a good source of caffeine, but not as good as coffee. Tea has about 30 to 40 milligrams. Green tea, as it turns out, is the most widely consumed beverage in the world.
Wow. No kidding. Green tea.
And probably has a lot to do with the fact, well, in China, they drink a lot of green tea, and there's a billion people, maybe more than a billion people in China. So that accounts for a lot of the statistics, a lot of the fact that green tea is the most popular drink in the world is because a billion Chinese are drinking it every day. I don't want to generalize, but that probably has something to do with it. In any case, green tea has about 30 to 40 milligrams of caffeine, and green tea is a very, very powerful health drink. There are wonderful antioxidants specifically for the skin as well as the cardiovascular system in green tea. Now, that being said, coffee is also a medicinal and nutritionally valuable drink. It's got minerals in it. It's got vitamins in it, phytonutrients in it. So coffees are pretty powerful stuff too. I prefer tea. I don't like the buzz that I get from coffee, but But with green tea, you just get a nice gentle buzz, 30 milligrams. According to the FDA, I think it's the FDA, according to medical experts will say you don't want more than 400 milligrams of caffeine a day. 400 is like the upper limit, which would be about 4 cups of coffee, or maybe 2 cups of espresso, or maybe 10 cups of green tea, or 2 Vibrant pills, or 4 no-dose pills. No-dose is about half the caffeine that Vibrant has. So caffeine is a drug, make no mistake about it, but it does have some benefits, some health benefits. Best to do caffeine sparingly. If you can avoid doing it every day, easier said than done. I understand that, but if you can avoid doing it every day, not only will it be better for your body, but you also get better effects. You'll be more sensitive to a smaller amount of caffeine if you take days off. If you are hooked on caffeine, if you've been doing it every day for a long period of time, it's probably best to wean yourself off of caffeine slowly. And probably the most troublesome of the side effects associated with caffeine withdrawal are going to be feeling really, really tired, and then also some folks get headaches when they try to withdraw, or also sometimes people get anxiety or they'll get irritable when they try to avoid caffeine, and in rare cases tremors can occur when you try to withdraw from caffeine. So it's good stuff and it's bad stuff. Probably best to just kind of moderate your dose and take days off and try to go without caffeine for as long a period of time as you can. Then when you do the caffeine, you won't need as much caffeine to get the same kind of buzz.
Yeah, I had no idea, from gut biota to insulin to thyroid. It's just such a powerful entity. And we have some.
Oh, we got people online.
People on the line. Let's see, what do we have here? We have the lovely Annie, 85. Hello, pharmacist.
Oh, you know what I have to mention? Caffeine also may block the absorption of calcium. So for folks who are worried about, women especially, who are worried about osteoporosis, or anybody who's worried about calcium intake or calcium absorption, you may want to be careful with the caffeine. Sometimes caffeine's impairment of calcium absorption at the level of the intestine can cause a little bit of twitching, muscle twitching, or tics, which can be associated with calcium deficiency.
Wow, that's great to know, because I'm doing a lot of bone support, bone and joint support, so maybe chill out on the caffeine a little bit.
Well, yeah, chill out a little bit on the caffeine.
So Annie, 85, gives us a lovely hello.
Hi, Annie.
She would like to know, she says, on your last video, you mentioned a progesterone cream you sell on your pharmacy.
I make a serum. It's not a cream. I don't like making creams. In fact, I very rarely will make creams for my Truth treatments, because creams are complex concoctions of emulsifying agents and oil and waxes and thickeners, things you don't need on your skin, for one, and things you don't want to be paying for, number two. So I don't really make creams. I like serums. I do make a very nice progesterone vitamin serum. It's got progesterone and vitamins, and it is a transdermal delivery system. So you get the progesterone when you apply it topically. You get the progesterone into your blood, so it will up your progesterone levels. For folks who are dealing with hot flashes, night sweats, women especially dealing with night sweats and hot flashes and menopausal symptoms, this could be a godsend. But it's important to recognize that progesterone also benefits men. So men can balance out their female hormone, estrogen, by using progesterone. Progesterone also is anabolic. It's muscle building. So it's got some really interesting benefits. It's also very relaxing. So I do make a progesterone serum. It doubles. It's a progesterone. It's designed for progesterone to up your progesterone levels internally, but it doubles as a wonderful topical skin softener, moisturizer, and anti-aging ingredient. Progesterone has benefits for the skin. Plus, there's vitamins in the formulation, and there's no preservatives. Like most of my formulations, we don't use any preservatives or fillers or waxes. It's just 100% active and functional ingredients. Active ingredients for your cells, and functional ingredients to get those active ingredients to the cells.
And where could Annie find this magical serum?
If you reach out to Truth, support@truthtreatments.com, and ask for Pro Harmony Serum, they'll tell you how you can get it.
Truth Treatments?
Support@truthtreatments.com.
Support@truthtreatments.com.
Yeah, if you have any questions about Truth Treatments in general, you can always write to support@truthtreatments.com, or you can go to our website, truthtreatments.com, and you can check out the products. And we got FAQs and videos up there that can that can probably answer most of your questions.
Yeah, it'd be great to do
On the truth.
Yeah, travel through your website one of these days.
Yeah, maybe we'll do that next week.
All right, Annie. Thank you so
Annie.
much for your comments. Thanks everybody for watching. This was another eye-opening.
I don't like my tie. Why didn't you tell me my tie's all crooked here, Liam?
Was it crooked? I was mesmerized by the information that I was.
All right, you know, the internet's forever, so.
That's right.
All right, Liam. Good to see you. Happy Sunday. Bye, everybody. See you next week.
Take care, everyone.